Assalamu alaikum and hello. My name is Zeeshan Hasan. I'm the tutor of ACCA. I do teach various papers of ACCA, including papers of Foundation in Accountancy, Diploma, uh, Business and Technology, Management Accounting, Financial Accounting, Corporate and Business Law, Performance Management, Finance Reporting, Audit Assurance, Financial Management, Strategic Business Leader, um, Strategic Business Reporting, Advanced Performance Management, and Advanced Audit Assurance. In this video, I will discuss the recent change in ACCA exams that now even ACCA professional exams, including advanced performance management, advanced financial management, advanced audit assurance, will have 20 professional marks, right? So there will be 20 marks for a professional optional levels, 20 professional exams, right? So as you can see, the option exams will have 20 marks awarded for professional skills which are demonstrated throughout the exam. The exam duration will remain the same. That means exam duration will be the same. That means 3 hours and 15 minutes. 15 minutes, right? Which will allow you to more allowing you to more effectively manage your exam to answer the 80 marks allocated for showing mastery of your technical skepticism specializes. Okay, now the professional exams skills will be assessed, right? This will be the same as those currently assessed in strategic business leader exam, but it will be tailored to reflect the specialist content being assessed in each optional exams. So each of the professional skills has a number of leadership capabilities associated with it. The strategic professional options examinations will use these capabilities to allocate marks in each exam from uh, exam question as appropriate. Now, what are the professional skills and capabilities? First of all, communication. Communication, three things you need to know about it: inform, persuade, clarify, and simplify. This means the students have to express themselves clearly and convincingly throughout the appropriate medium while being sensitive to the needs of the intended audience. This means responding in a professional manner and adhering to any specific instructions made. Commercial acumen: demonstrate awareness, recognize key issues, and use judgment, show insight. This means candidates have to show awareness of the wider business environment and external factors affecting the business and use commercially sound judgment and insight to resolve issues, exploit opportunities, and offer valid advice and realistic recommendations. Okay. Then analyze and evaluation. There you have to investigate, consider, assess, and apply and appraise. This means candidates firstly have to thoroughly investigate and research information from a variety of sources and logically process it with a view to prioritizing activities and arriving at an appropriate conclusion or recommendation. This analysis should form part of a comprehensive evaluation of a matter where candidates have to carefully assess situations, proposals, and arguments in a balanced and cogent way using professional and ethical judgment to predict future outcomes and consequences as a basis for sound decision making. Then we have skepticism. There you have to explore, question, challenge, and critically assess. This means candidates have to explore questions and challenge information and views presented to them, in identifying if all information is available for whether may be underlying bias to fully understand business issues and establish fact objectivity based on ethical and professional values. Skepticism is being expanded to include judgment for advanced audit and assurance only as it is a defined requirement for auditors. Now, let us look at this with the aspect of AAA, Advanced Audit Assurance Aspect. So, as far as Advanced Audit Assurance AAA T7 exam is concerned, Section A question in AAA AAA always asks for set of briefing note requested by an audit engagement partner or senior management which addresses key matters facing the engagement team at the planning stage of audit, right? The report should have appropriate headings, remember, or subheadings and a brief introduction which explains the content of the report to follow. Candidates' response in the body of the report should look professional, use appropriate language, and be clear and effective. It is vital that the report is relevant to the requirements, including adhering to any specific instructions given in the examination requirement. Remember, there will be always 4 marks in your section A, 50 marks questions related to communication skills. Remember that. Always, always, always. And how you will get them? You have to use the proper headings, subheadings, use professional language, further, 3 things which you need to be very careful about to get this communication skills marks. First, one thing in brief, be clear which medium you using to communicate. Number 2, to whom you communicating. For example, your role, either you are the manager and you're communicating to the audit partner. Now, in this case, remember that auditing, you do not need to explain in detail about the code of ethics to the audit engagement partner. You do not need to tell what is code of ethics, what is impairment, what is provision, etc. He knows it already. You has to communicate on the technical issues which can impact audit engagement, right? So number 2, to whom you are communicating. 3, number 3, have I followed the requirements that what you need to consider in this communication part, right? Now, next thing, analysis and evaluation. All advanced audit assurance AAA questions will include this professional skills as it is fundamental that candidates can demonstrate their assessment of a given scenario and application of their knowledge. The scenario will requirement assessment of the financial reporting issues of the client, the ethical or legal or and regulatory issues and their impact on the audit process. This may be the planning or completion and reporting stage of the audit. So candidates need to ensure that any recommendations or further actions are relevant to that point of the engagement, it is important that candidates ensure any analysis or evaluation is contextual and must take into account the situation in which the organization in the question operates. Analysis can be demonstrated by the appropriateness of the use of the information to determine suitable calculations, okay, to the support your evaluation. The impact to draw appropriate conclusion from the analysis should be demonstrated so that appropriate responses or actions can be proposed, right? Identifying where data or information appears to be omitted or where further analysis is needed to make a recommendation is also important. That means a full evaluation cannot be performed. For example, understanding the basis of a provision and understanding how the auditing can gain sufficient and appropriate audit evidence in the circumstances. And evaluation is a balanced appraisal to determine the impact of a course of action. For example, if a client does not amend a material misstatement in the financial statement, candidates need to explain the implications on the auditor's report. So, in analysis, what you need to look at, so you need to do specific calculations to gather the evidence, use the numbers to calculate the ratios and trends, for example, to calculate the materiality of the misstatement, right? And you need to explain the implications of those misstatements on the audit risk or on the audit report, vice versa. Ensure that you make any recommendation for further actions to taken with regard to those misstatement found, right? Number 6, ensure that the analysis you made are 100% contextual and specific to the scenario. You do not need previous knowledge or industry experience, right? It just need to be relevant to the question and contextual. Now, moving ahead, skepticism and judgment. Candidates are expected to demonstrate professional skepticism and judgment when assessing the information given in the scenario. This is key when asked to evaluate significant risk in a scenario or challenging information which has been provided. For example, in line with the revisions and introduction of the spectrum of risk, ISA 315 revised 2019, identifying and assessing the risk of material misstatement, candidates will need to demonstrate their application of professional judgment uh, by prioritizing risk, audit risk, or risk of material misstatement only in their answer. Candidates should be prioritizing the most significant skill first and is a brief conclusion justifying their decision. Information may come from the client, such as the basis of provision or the basis of amortization of purchases in intangible assets. Other scenarios may ask the candidates to review the audit work and evidence obtained during the engagement and assess whether it is sufficient to support a decision or information in any auditor's report. So skepticism, what does skepticism mean? That you should be alert for any situation, right? You should not assume a management as a fraud, or either you cannot assume them as an angels, you cannot assume them as an devils, right? You just need to be alert for any type of the situation, right? So go for them. You have to be a, you should have a questioning mind, right? You have to questioning mind, and you need to be, you need to challenge the information you're getting from your client. For right, you cannot believe on any other anything just like that. You has to challenge, you has to question about the evidences or the information you're getting, right? But it's, remember, it should not be like that you are accepting everything or you are challenging everything. It's you that you have to decide that what you have to challenge and what you do not have to challenge. For example, um, getting receivables confirmation from the debtors itself is more reliable than getting the internal data from the organization. You obviously you will rely on the information which you are getting from the external source. So how you will expert the skill? Obviously by uh, practicing more questions for the exam point of view and industry. When you will practice as an auditor, when you will practice, you will get expert when you will work as an auditor or in any industry. In both ways, by practice, you will get more expert in it. With the exam point of view, you will expert in it. You will get expert in it by practicing and applying the skill more and more and more. Right? So far, so good. Now, as far as the commercial acumen is concerned, or the last one, here questions are set in commercially realistic scenarios ranging from private to public sector organization, not-for-profit organizations, and regulated industries. Candidates may be asked to demonstrate their commercial acumen by assessing the business risk, right? You may get this in your question number one in with the business risk question, right? And there you have to assess commercial acumen in business risk, right? In the audit planning state, for example, specify regulatory requirements or impact of the competition on the future business. Impact of competition, right? Factors affecting a client may highlight issues regarding the future trade success of the business. For example, they can be an opportunity to expand the business, but considerations need to be given as how this will affect the current operations. Candidates need to look at external constraints and opportunities where relevant and also consider the validity, reasonableness, of the assumptions that the organizations may be working under given the external environment. Candidates may show commercial acumen by assessing the impact of the engagement on the audit firm. This may be relevant in the scenario which requires an evaluation of whether to accept an engagement, for example, whether the audit firm is happy to associate it with the client or industry. So that's what you need to do. I hope you get it. Uh, if you have any questions, you can ask me in the comments. Also, you can contact me on the WhatsApp, uh, +923341777706. So that's it for this session.